I was and I had been at my boyfriend's house, and I was on my way home. And the road I was driving on is called Moon Meadows, and it is a very windy road, and it had this very steep canyon off to the left side. I was driving on it, and I went up to hit the brake, and my leg gave out on me, and I lost control of my car. So I went flying down the canyon, and Jim Jester is a good friend of mine, and he told me I flew over 2 football fields length, down the side of it, a long way. Actually, and my car should have flipped or rolled, and I glided my way down to the bottom of the canyon. And this is another instance when God saved my life, because I walked, and car still could walk out of my car. And I figured I had to make it up the side of the cliff, so it had started to walk. And it was raining very, very hard, and it was very cold that night. And it took me about 2 hours to climb up the cliff. And once I got up it, a man saw me just driving by, and I was covered in head to toe with mud. And he stopped and asked me if I needed help, and I said yes. So I called my Jason's family, and they came and got me. That was the last time I drove a car.
The front of it is still down there.
Yeah, it is. The entire front half is still down there. My mom just asked me if I went to bring it the front half and put it on my wall as a souvenir. A verse that means a lot to me is 2 Corinthians 12:7-10. In it, Paul says, I had this thorn, and I couldn't get rid of it, even though I prayed and prayed and prayed. Then the Lord said to me, my grace is enough. It's all you need. My strength comes into its own in your weakness. And when I heard that, I was more than glad to let go of the thorn I had been carrying. I quit focusing on the handicapped, in my case, the disease, and started appreciating the good things. It was a case of great strength moving in on my weakness. And now I take the limitations in stride, and with good cheer, these limitations that cut us down to size: abuse, accidents, opposition, bad breaks. And I just let God have them. And so the weaker I get, the stronger I become.
A story that Jamie asked me to read that she found that was meaningful. It says, I read a story recently about a woman who had her life interrupted. Her life had been easy, but then in the 4th month of her pregnancy, she lost her baby. She grieved over her loss and was angry at God. What's worse, her friend infuriated her by suggesting her grief was a God-given path to maturity that would allow her to empathize with others who suffer. She has no idea what I'm feeling. This girl's name was Sandra, thought Sandra with disgust. Thanksgiving was approaching, and she went into a flower shop to pick up a bouquet for her table. "Good afternoon, can I help you?" the sales clerk asked. "Are you looking for something that conveys gratitude this Thanksgiving?" She replied, "Not exactly." Sandra said, "In the last 5 months, everything that could go wrong has gone wrong." Right then, the door's small bell rang, and the shop clerk said, "Hi, Barbara. Let me get your order." She politely excused herself and walked towards a small workroom, then quickly reappeared carrying an arrangement of greenery, bows and long-stemmed thorny roses. Except the ends of the rose stems were neatly snipped. There were no flowers. "Do you want this in a box?" asked the clerk. Sandra watched for the customer's response. Was this a joke? Who would want rose stems with no flowers? She waited for laughter, but neither woman laughed. "Yes, please," Barbara replied with an appreciative smile. "You'd think after 3 years of getting the special I wouldn't be so moved by significance. But I can feel it right here all over again," she said as she gently tapped her chest. "Ah," stammered Sandra. "That lady just left with no flowers." "Right, I cut off the flowers. That's the special, and I call it the Thanksgiving Thorns Bouquet," said the clerk. "Oh, come on, you can't tell me someone's willing to pay for that," exclaimed Sandra. "Well, Barbara came into the shop 3 years ago feeling very much like you feel today," said the clerk. "She thought she had very little to be thankful for. She had lost her father to cancer, the family business was failing, her son was into drugs, and she was facing major surgery. That same year I had lost my husband," continued the clerk, "and for the first time in my life I had to spend the holidays alone. I had no children, no husband, no family nearby, and too great a debt to allow any travel. So what did you do?" Sandra said. "I learned to be thankful for the thorns," answered the clerk quietly. "I've always thanked God for good things in life. I never thought to ask why those good things happened to me, but when the bad stuff hit, did I ever. It took time for me to learn that the dark times are important. I've always enjoyed the flowers of life, but it took thorns to show me the beauty of God's comfort. You know, the Bible says that God comforts us when we're afflicted, and from His consolation we learn to comfort others." Sandra took in her breath as she thought about the very thing her friend had tried to tell her. "I guess the truth is I don't want comfort. I've lost a baby and I'm angry with God. I don't know if I can be thankful for the thorns in my life," Sandra said to the clerk. "It's too fresh." "Well," the clerk replied carefully, "my experience has shown me that thorns make roses more precious. Don't resent the thorns. Remember, it was a crown of thorns that Jesus wore so that we might know His love." Tears rolled down Sandra's cheeks. For the first time since the accident, she loosened her grip on resentment. "I'll take those 12-stemmed thorns, please," she managed to choke out. "I hoped you would," said the clerk gently. "I'll have them ready in a minute." "Thank you. What do I owe you?" asked Sandra. "Nothing," said the clerk, "because nothing but a promise to allow God to heal your heart. The first year's arrangement is always on me." The clerk smiled and handed her card and asked if she would read it first. It read, "Dear God, I have never thanked you for my thorns. I have thanked you 1,000 times for my roses, but never once for my thorns. Teach me the glory of the cross I bear. Teach me the value of my thorns. Show me that I have climbed closer to you along the path of pain. Show me that through my tears, the color of your rainbow looks much more brilliant."
For many years, I was at a crossroads in my faith and my relationship with God. I lost my faith because I had experienced too much heartache and too much pain to maintain it. And I had suffered a lot of anguish. You see, I grew up a pastor's kid. But with everything that's going through